Welcome to Savanna Chronicles, the channel dedicated to unearthing the forgotten epics of the African plains. We journey beyond the familiar, past the dust and the heat, to the kingdoms that rose and fell like the relentless sun. Today, we plunge into the heart of the 16th century Hausa city-states, to a time of iron and ambition, where a woman's name struck terror into the hearts of men. She was not just a ruler, she was a conqueror, a general. She redefined what a queen could be. Prepare to meet the original warrior queen, the Spear of the North, Amina, the daughter of Nikitau, the great Lioness of Zazzau. The story of Amina begins not in a palace of silk and comfort, but in the unforgiving, vibrant heart of the Hausa Kingdoms around the 16th century CE. This was a constellation of 7 independent city-states, known as the Hausa Bakwai, Hausa 7, situated in what is now northern Nigeria. Key amongst them were Kano, Katsina, Daura, and the kingdom destined to produce the legendary queen, Zazzau, later renamed Zaria. The Hausa world was defined by its strategic location, thriving on the Trans-Saharan trade routes. Gold, salt, kola nuts, and slaves flowed through its markets, bringing immense wealth and, inevitably, conflict. Life was structured around fortified cities, ruled by powerful monarchs, Sarki. Succession was often complex and bloody, demanding not just diplomacy, but martial prowess. Amina was born around 1533 CE to Sarki Nikitau, the king of Zazzau, and his queen Bakwa Turunku. Her early life was spent in the shadow of a powerful and expansionist father. Unlike many royal daughters whose education was solely focused on domestic and courtly affairs, Amina was groomed for leadership. Her grandfather, Sarki Nohir, the king before Nikitau, is often cited as a key early influence, recognizing the fierce, independent spirit in the young princess. From a very young age, Amina rejected the confines of traditional femininity. Her favorite companions were the veteran soldiers of the court. She learned to ride, not side saddle, but fiercely astride the fastest horses. She mastered the art of war, not just observation, but active training. She was drilled in the use of the sword, the spear, and the shield, earning the grudging respect of the palace guards. Her potential was undeniable, a sharp, unyielding weapon honed for the political and military battles to come. When Sarki Nikitau died, Amina's older brother Karama ascended the throne. This was the traditional path, but Amina's role was anything traditional. She had already proven herself. Instead of being relegated to the women's quarters, she was given an official military post and a seat at the war council. She spent the next decade, approximately 1566 to 1576, serving as a high-ranking military commander under her brother's reign. This period was her true apprenticeship. Zazzau, like its neighbors, was constantly engaged in skirmishes and full-scale wars. Amina was not merely a figurehead. She was on the front lines, leading cavalry charges and strategizing siege warfare. Military genius. Her tactics were known for their speed and ferocity. She favored rapid, decisive strikes, overwhelming an enemy before they could mobilize fully. She prioritized the protection of her supply lines and the use of disciplined heavy cavalry, a decisive advantage in the Savanna terrain. The Amida command. She earned the loyalty of the soldiers who recognized her bravery and competence. She commanded a fierce contingent known as the Amida, a spearhead force that was often tasked with the most dangerous missions. It was during these campaigns that she began to establish her personal legend. The tales of her physical courage, fighting while wounded, dismounting to personally rally retreating troops, spread far beyond the borders of Zazzau. During this time, Zazzau's territorial reach expanded significantly under Karama's general policy of military expansion, but the victories were often attributed to the brilliant command of his sister. In 1576, the reign of Sarki Karama ended. Following the political traditions of the Hausa states, Amina, now a celebrated war hero and political heavyweight, successfully claimed the throne. Her accession was not just a political event, it was a cultural upheaval. While the Hausa states had a tradition of powerful female figures, like the Magajia, or Queen Mother, a woman taking the title of Sarki, the undisputed king or ruler, was a rarity. Amina's first year was spent solidifying her power internally. She faced the inevitable challenges from male rivals officials who doubted a woman's capacity to maintain the harsh military rule necessary for Zazzau's survival. She silenced them not with political purges, but with a stunning display of strategic planning and military ambition. She made it clear that her reign would be defined by strength and expansion. Her reign lasted for 34 years, a period of unparalleled conquest and prosperity for Zazzau. The core of Amina's legend lies in her military campaigns. Her immediate goal was clear: secure Zazzau's trading arteries and make the kingdom the undisputed master of the central Hausa states. She was driven by an economic imperative, control of the trade routes, and a strategic necessity, eliminating rival powers that could threaten Zazzau. Key military achievements: securing the south. Amina launched massive campaigns southward, toward the forest belt. She targeted weaker city-states and decentralized groups, primarily to secure access to kola nut, salt, and potential slave resources for the Trans-Saharan market. She annexed the lands of the Nube and the Jukun, two powerful groups on her southern border, forcing them into tributary status. The conquest of Quara Rafa. The Jukun people of Quara Rafa were a formidable military force. Amina's successful campaign against them was a watershed moment, demonstrating that Zazzau's might could break even the strongest rivals. The western expansion. Amina pushed westward, conquering territories like Kachina and even threatening the great city-states of Kano and Katsina. While she never fully conquered the largest of the Hausa cities, her military reach extended so far that they were forced to acknowledge her dominance, paying homage and tribute to Zazzau. Amina's signature tactic: wall building. Amina did not just conquer territory, she held it. To secure her immense territorial gains, she instituted a policy of building large, defensive earthen walls around the military camps she established outside conquered cities. These walls, known as Ganuwar Amina, Amina's Walls, were built across a huge swath of the central Sudan region. Many of these ruins still stand today, a testament to her logistical and engineering prowess, effectively turning her military outposts into permanent protected garrisons that controlled the surrounding areas and trade routes. Amina's governance was characterized by the establishment of a large, well-equipped standing army, permanently funded by the tributes and taxes collected from her vast vassal state empire. Key elements of her rule. Economic strategy. She understood that military power was sustained by economic stability. By securing and controlling the major north-south and east-west trade routes, she channeled enormous wealth back into Zazzau. This wealth was used to buy better weapons, finance her armies, and maintain the complex bureaucracy needed to rule an empire. A fearless leader. Historical accounts, especially the Kano Chronicle, a rival state history that surprisingly acknowledges her greatness, describe her as a woman of immense personal charisma and physical strength. The accounts speak of her legendary exploits, which include the controversial but persistent tradition that she never married, instead taking a new, temporary husband from the ranks of a conquered foe's leadership on the night of her victory, only to execute him the next morning, so that no man could ever boast of being her husband. While this detail is debated, its inclusion in the lore highlights her terrifying independence and dominance. Cultural impact. Her life irrevocably altered the perception of women in power within the Hausa hierarchy. She created a historical precedent for the female leadership of a major state, inspiring future generations. She transformed Zazzau into a regional power, into the center of a military empire, shifting the balance of power within the entire Hausa region. The exact circumstances of Queen Amina's death are shrouded in legend and historical ambiguity, which only adds to her mystique. The most widely accepted account is that she died during a military campaign. The Kano Chronicle states that she died in a town called Adigar, likely Ata, near Ida, along the Benue River, while on a grueling campaign far from Zazzau's capital. She did not die in a palace, but on the battlefield leading her troops. It is a fitting end for a woman who spent the majority of her life on horseback, campaigning hundreds of miles from home. She left behind an empire defined by military might, a string of fortified walls, and a legend that has endured for nearly 5 centuries. Her story is a powerful counter-narrative to the common belief that leadership and warfare in pre-colonial West Africa were exclusively male domains. Amina of Zazzau remains remains one of the greatest military figures in African history, a true warrior queen of the Savanna. Conclusion and legacy. Queen Amina's legacy is preserved in oral traditions, folklore, and the written histories of the Kano Chronicle. She is not a myth. She is a recognized historical figure whose military achievements are celebrated today in modern Nigeria, where institutions and monuments bear her name. She was a commander who, through sheer force of will, strategic brilliance, and personal bravery, forged an empire. She took a strong but localized kingdom and expanded its influence across the vast, challenging terrain of the West African savanna, leaving behind a clear and powerful message. In Zazzau, the crown belonged not to the strongest man, but to the most capable warrior. Thank you for joining the Chronicle. If you learned something new today, please like and share this video. For more untold epics from the African plains, make sure you are subscribed.